So, the two types of lands. If you look at the picture, yes, both all those answers are right. Rural and urban. And we're gonna get into basically a lot of rural. I can't say that word. And a lot of urban and the problems associated with both, okay? We're usually focus on urban first and then we transfer to rural. So urban lands, we reference them usually as what? Cities, good. Metropolis, good word, yes. And they grow usually away from where there's water and what we call our centralized area, like the downtown area. And they expand into little cities called what? Suburbs, good. So the creation of suburbs or expansion outside of the central city is called urban sprawl. You need to know that word. It's popped up on some of your tests already, but with an explanation or somewhat not necessarily needing to know. Now you have to know the actual term. Urban sprawl or urbanization or the development of cities in general leads to a lot of issues. But why do these shifts happen? How come we have such growth in areas? Obviously, money's going to be a factor, but what allows people to decide I'm going to move that way? Jobs really arise after, so, or people move away from the jobs, right? So we usually have to drive to our job when we move away from that central city. For their initial urbanization starts for jobs, but once urbanization begins, urban sprawl happens. Why? So this question here, why the shift? Why the shift away from the central city? Loans definitely is a huge component. Right now, first-time buyer loans. You buy, you have the lowest interest rate possible and zero money down. It's like crazy. And you have to qualify, obviously, but tax breaks. Available land. Really, that is a huge thing. Lands are created, or lands are always available. There's lands everywhere, yes? But making them available means the government did something to those lands. Anybody know what that's called? I'll give you yeah, it can be. That's true. But really, zoning, good. Foreclosed would be the individual foreclosed because they couldn't, and then it's available. But the first availability of land was because the government said this land is now available to build on, okay? And a lot of the zoned land was not originally residential areas. They are rezoned in order to collect more of this or offer more breaks and more loans, but get more money at the end because you rezone the land. Urban in general, so not just urban sprawl problems, urban land problems include what? And you could go to the most obvious and then move away, whatever. Good. Land fragmentation, that's a big topic. That leads to what? Habitat loss, for sure. So you're fragmenting a major habitat to then divide it into little spots, like you see in this little picture here. You have one big plot of land and it's fragmented into little pieces. And it's going to lead to loss of habitats, loss of species, starting with trees and moving on to other organisms. Pollution for sure. Water, air, land. So we've covered water and air. We're starting land. And I want you to keep in mind that noise pollution exists because that question might pop up on the AP exam. And noise pollution is very heavy in urban cities. Traffic, yes, waste is another problem. This should have been covered, poverty. But I want you to keep in mind that the central city, when there's urbanization or urban sprawl, the central city becomes the poorest of the whole development. So think about downtown area. People stop living there and they move out. And then this becomes a really poor area, and this becomes, right? What else? What kind of environment? So what do you depend on? Food. And where do we get our food? Farming. We're going to depend on rural lands. So urbanization depends on rural lands for survival, or urban. I keep having to say that word. What else is two more D's? Degradation. of water, soil, air, every single part of the city. Depletion of resources from overuse and overpopulation. Good. Here's another major issue with urbanization. Look at this diagram and tell me what is it saying? What? Temperatures seem to be the highest in urban areas in comparison to rural. And we call this urban heat island, okay? It's literally given a name. What I want you to be very, very clear on is this has nothing to do with global warming. So you're going to make a little star in your notes and say, global warming does not cause temperatures to rise in urban areas. It causes temperatures to rise in the world, okay? Temperatures rise in urban areas because of what? Buildings. What else? Concrete. Good. It is true, more cars, definitely. You could totally add that, and I don't know why that's missing, but more cars is definitely, I mean, cars produce massive amounts of heat. Lack of, space. Lack of open space. We need that greenery, those trees, in order to help us release heat. Instead, we're just absorbing and releasing at terrible times. So it's like trapping it in there. These lands are open space lands, and we're going to reference them as that, open space lands. This is my first type of open space land. What's it called? Croplands and farmlands. I accept both of those words are good words. What do we farm there? Be very cautious. Good. Crops. What's my next type of open space land? Good. Grazing. What do we call them? Anybody? Anybody?
Cows. Pastures.
I'll give you a letter. Watch what's going to happen now.
Range.
Good. I never get that. I always get range. So the problems with croplands and rangelands, I want you to think of the problems that are directly associated with what we use the land for. I know there's multiple problems in the world on land. Yes, drought being one of them. But yes, that's what I want you to think of. What will overgrazing lead to? If it happens in excess, what is this picture showing you? Remember this? Okay, so you've seen this, correct, there's a word. You've seen this, drought causes lands to crack like this. But we're saying overgrazing or over farming leads to this problem. What is this over here?
Grass.
And what is this?
Rock. Dirt.
Oh, desert food.
There you go. A land that was once arable or ready to grow crops on or graze animals on so they could feed becomes the type of land that can no longer be used. And poor farming techniques are going to include pesticides in excess, irrigation, all the things I'm going to talk about with you for the next couple of days. So that's just like an introduction. What's next? Forest lands. What do we use it for? Yes, which we get from
Plants.
good. Wood. We cut down the trees so we could use the wood, timber, lumber. All those words mean the same thing, which provide us with paper and construction materials. What are some problems with forest lands? Or what is the main problem?
Deforestation.
Correct. Why do we cut down the forest? Number one.
Farming land.
Good. Clear the land to grow crops. And then the next one is for the actual wood, for construction materials, paper. National parks and preserves.
I said that.
Our national parks and preserves are considered protected lands, and a word that's going to definitely pop up on the AP exam and you want to know is that wilderness is considered a preserved land or like part of a national park. We use it for recreation, hunting, tourism, all of these things. But yes, I'm not going to take you here today so we could start reviewing. Actually, I'll just take you. This is actually, I believe, here it is so we could look at it in the video. This, no.
So pretty.
This, yes.
I'm going. We're going.
Wait, where did you see Oregon? Yes.
I was gonna go there this summer.
And then they have a whole like map of where you could go, but if we scroll down, they're right here.
Florida.
Where's Florida? Right here? Yeah, that's right here in Broward County.
Right? Yeah, that's I'm so.
I don't know about that.
Oh,
Scroll
wait,
down.
Yeah, you can see it's the Everglades right off the highway.
We should go there, Environmental Club.
Yeah.
I know it sounds.
New Mexico, California. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, the website was very misleading. I was gonna look through it with you. Oh yeah, we know this definitely.
That's so cool.
Death Valley. That's a preserve?
There's also a mountain bike down one of those.
Yeah, me too. All right, tangent. Come back. All right, I think I'm done. Problems with parks and preserves. What's this a picture of?
New York.
Yes. So what's this a picture of?
New York City.
What?
Central City.
Central Parks and Preserve in New York. Central Park. What's the major problem with Parks and Preserve? They are Central Park is surrounded by cities. They are near urban lands, so that they kind of tend to get the same similar problems, even though they're protected, and they're doing a pretty good job in a lot of them. But all right, solutions. And I kind of put this slide as an overall slide because technically this would solve, and these little guys should be up here and the word solutions below because they're describing what it like a solution would look like. Reduced population is definitely, unfortunately, as tragic as that sound, number one way. What? New laws. We need laws, we need restrictions, we need regulations in order for everything to be protected. And then replenish, replant, reforest. Yes. We got to regenerate in general, but reforestation is a huge topic for solutions to deforestation.